Welcome back. The women's basketball team fell to Ferris State on Thursday night, but guys, they redeemed themselves on Saturday against Grand Valley.
Man, did they ever. You know, it was a game against the number 20 team in the nation, and, you know, they came out, shot the three-pointers, and really, you know, that's what ended up with their victory. Joe?
Right, that's a lot of the victory, the three-pointers, and you look at this team, this Grand Valley State team, come in a lot bigger. Troy Matson says they have a lot more depth. They've come in the past and just blown out Northern. You don't expect a win like this, but you know what? You'll take it.
Yeah, you know, this is Troy Matson's biggest win thus far in his career. I think right now Troy's in his fourth year. The final score, 81-68, and, you know, one of the stats that really stands out is that 18 for 38 from the three-point line. I mean, setting records both in the both for NMU and in the attempts and the shots made.
Also, you look at 273 points made in the season. That's second worst in the GLIAC. So they're not a big three-pointing shooting team, but we've got the three-pointers. We're going to look at them right now.
Off to the Berry Event Center where the NMU Wildcats took on number 20 Grand Valley State. They're going to start off right, pushing the ball up to Holly Cole. She's in the corner, the St. Ignace native, for three, and she hits it. NMU would do that all day. They would set a record for 3 points made. Pushing the ball right here, out to Cole, the veteran. She's going to bring it outside to Deacon and inside to Lexon. Oh, look at this pretty pass. Outside to Stephanie Steger for three. Yet again, NMU would take a lead into the halftime by 2, but Grand Valley would clinch back. But right here, this is what clinched it. Krista Erickson's play up for 3. She led the Wildcats from three-point range. Now Deacon with another 3. NMU keeps putting it on. That was the way that it would be at the end of the game. As they push the ball here, Kelsey Deacon back to Krista Erickson, the Escanaba native. She hits another big 3. NMU would win it 81-68 on the play. Here's one more 3 from Krista Erickson.
It was a big win for the Cats, Curt. What do they need to do to keep this momentum going versus Ashland and Tiffin this weekend?
Well, one of the things that they did real well, I thought, was the scoring of Kelsey Deacon. In that last game, she had 26 points. She was coming off, I think it was 4 straight games where she was scoring in single digits. And, you know, if they can continue to do that, have some stepped-up scoring from Krista Erickson maybe, you know, they can really kind of ride this. Joe?
Yeah, I think you got to look at someone like Erin Powers, big rebounder. She's gonna have to be a force in the middle against a middle-pack team, 7-7 in the GLIAC. Ashland's going to bring it, so they're going to need to get inside, as well as a girl like Angie Lexon.
Yeah, and you know, Lexon and Powers both have a very, very big problem ahead of them. There's 6 players on the Ashland squad that are 5'10" or taller. So we're talking about a team that's maybe one of the bigger teams in the GLIAC, and you know, they're third in rebounding for a reason. 40.3 rebounds a game. NMU at just around 37, so it's going to be it's a big obstacle to overcome.
So grit's going to come down. It's going to be a key is grit. When you look at it, they're going to have to get a lot of second chances off rebounds. Powers is going to be key. A girl like Cassie Hedgebloom is going to be key too.
Yeah, Cassie Hedgebloom, a person we don't really talk a lot about, but somebody who really comes out, plays very, very hard. Defense and rebounding are pretty much her keys, and this is kind of the game where she can shine. And then they've got Tiffin up next, a team that's 5-14 overall, 4-10 in the GLIAC, and really a team that's kind of struggled. You know, it's their first year in the GLIAC and adapting to that style of play.
And I think this is a team you can kind of compare to an NMU team of the past. It's still rebuilding, trying to find their place in the GLIAC, and they haven't been able to play really good defense. So it'll be a tough challenge still because it's a GLIAC matchup. Tiffin's not going to come in and just give it up, but it's going to be a pretty good game for Northern, I would think.
And I think for a player like Kelsey Deacon, who was kind of there in the very beginning when Troy Matson came in, it was basically Kelsey Deacon and Allison Carroll, who's now graduated, but those 2 players kind of came in with the same kind of team that they're about to play, and Troy Matson always says, we've got to beat the teams that we can beat. Well, this is definitely one of those games where they need to win.
Yep, it's a big game in the GLIAC, especially since they're in the playoff race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll recap the men's action. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Jared Benson. I'm from Kearney Natal, Michigan, and you're watching Cat Chat.
We're back, and guys, it was another rough weekend for the men's team, losing 2 games versus Ferris State and Grand Valley State. However, the team does seem to be improving in their play.
It seems that way. I mean, that's the way that Coach Dean Ellis has put it after pretty much every single game. He's saying, well, you know, we've gone out there, we've played our best game, but unfortunately we couldn't come up with a win again.
And they're trying to find that perfect rotation, still looking for it. You got guys like Jared Benson looking for minutes, guys like Eric Serene and Kyle Green in there trying to make some minutes, trying to mix it up. We've seen a little bit of cut in the play of Mark Renelick as well.
Yeah, and you know, part of that cut in the play from Mark Renelick is basically Mark Renelick is a shooter. I know that you and I have talked about this before. Renelick's going to go out there and he's going to hoist them, and when he's on fire, he's all you need. He's the one player on the team that can change the game. But you know, when he's not hitting, he's a person that, you know, might be a problem with the team.
Yeah, he could be an issue there, as well as we talked about defense in the past. He hasn't really adjusted to the defense that NMU runs, but a guy you got to be impressed with is Raymond McElroy. He's stepped up as a true freshman, redshirt freshman, 11.2 points per game.
Yeah, McElroy, 11.2, like you had said. Renelick still leading the team at that 14.6 points per game. But coming up a very close second are 2 players who, you know, aren't really getting all the press, but I think are probably the most important are Tyler Kazmarkowski, who is a senior, and junior Chris Warner, who basically plays and kind of acts like a senior. Those 2 guys are the people who, if they want this to turn around, are going to be the guys who are the vocal leaders. And
we know in this GLIAC that it's going to be tough. No matter who you're playing, if it's Ashland or Tiffin, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a tough game. Tiffin's only won 1 game in the GLIAC. That's their 2nd game, but they're last in scoring at 60.7 points per game. But they're still a team in the GLIAC that you have to watch out for, and the adjustment might be maybe passing the ball a little bit more, moving the ball more, and quit hoisting the threes as much as they have.
Yeah, and Ashland, a 9-9 overall, 7-7 in the GLIAC, led in scoring by Cale Richardson, who at 19.7 points per game as a sophomore is really one of the leaders in the GLIAC. Going to be tough to stop. And Brett Wackerly, who's their senior guard, leading with 4.1 assists per game and second on the team with 15.4 points per game. Really, it's a game where they're going to be up against the competition that's been playing better than the Wildcats have, but you know, it's a game that they need to at least come out and, you know, a win could change everything.
And we've seen them compete in almost every single game in the GLIAC this year. They've been in it. We've talked about the point margin before. It's +3 for the Wildcats, and that's tough to see, especially with their losing record.
Yeah, it really is. You know, it's been a tough season to watch. I know that if there's anyone more frustrated than Coach Dean Ellis, it's the players. And you know, there's been a lot of frustration from Coach Dean Ellis, to say the least. It's been just a really difficult game. Right now it's a 7-game losing streak, and they've got 4 games coming up on the road.
With a lot of hope coming up this season. They had a lot of hope, and it's not going to get easier with Findlay coming up soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the team responds. Well, that's going to wrap up things for this week's edition of the show. For Curt Kemp and Joe Dexter, I'm Pete Francis. We'll see you next time.